So I just want to please ask you to welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Good morning. So, I am a graduate of the University of Miami's Law School. Let's just start there quickly, because when I was listening to Kathy talk about how access to transit allowed her to move out of her parents' house, it reminded me that I graduated from the University of Miami Law School, but I lived in Miami Gardens. And so I would wake up every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, take my shower, say my prayers, and I'm not really a breakfast person. I walk down 175th Street to 27th Avenue. I get on the 27 or the 27A bus. I take the 27A bus to the Martin Luther King Metro Rail station. I get on the Metro Rail, and it would take me around to the University of Miami. I'd stay there all day. I would call my dad from the phone in the student lounge as I was leaving and say, I'm going back to the station. He'd meet me at the MLK station, and every night he'd pick me up and he'd say, "What did you learn today?" He was a Southern Baptist preacher. He knew nothing of the law. His point was just to make sure that I brought everything that I learned in Coral Gables at the University of Miami back to Miami Gardens, back to my home. In so many ways, public transportation helped me get my law degree. And it's important to note, because sometimes we think about it as trains and buses and freebies or whatever. What we need to think about is connecting people with opportunity. People having access to opportunity. Like, it's a real thing. I'm a kid who grew up in Miami Gardens, who got his law degree from the University of Miami. I would go on to be a prosecutor, a partner in a law firm, a mayor of a city. It started on a bus at around 5:15 in the morning. That's what public transit did to me. So when I talk about expanding rapid mass transit, when I talk about it, I'm not talking about it from the perspective of a hypothet that someone I read in a white paper. I'm talking about it as a kid who actually used it to transform his life and to transform his community. It has to be real for you. You know, they also mentioned 30 for 30, and I'll just speak briefly about that. It occurred to me that we are siloed. We're doing some amazing things here in Dade County, but we're siloed. And we talk about resilience, and we talk about healthcare, and we talk about workforce training, and we talk about housing, and we talk about transit, and we talk about transportation, and we talk about economic development, and we talk about them as though they're different. In truth, they're not. In truth, they're inextricably intertwined. We can't talk about transit without talking about housing, and housing without transit. We do it all the time. It just makes us look foolish. It just makes us look foolish. Those things can't be disconnected. So my idea for 30 for 30 is this. Not just government, because this can't be a government-led effort. This has to be an all-of-us-led effort. Not a project that's government of the whole, but a project of community of the whole. We need to decide what we want to look like in 30 years. We need to actually decide, and then we just need to do it. We need to decide, and we need to know what each other are doing. So we don't need necessary duplications of effort between Miami-Dade and FIU and the University of Miami. We don't need them to duplicate efforts. We need them to actually work in sync. Because we're trying to create some place that's the ideal place for people to live. We're trying to create some place that's the premier location in this hemisphere. I want to be the capital of this hemisphere. I want people, when they think of America, when they think of everything in this area, to think of Miami-Dade County as the center of business and commerce and entertainment and resilience. I want us to be on the front line. We are on the front line for resilience. I want us to be the people who actually define how you have a successful, growing community, and it is resilient, and it has access to housing for every level. Because as much as we talk about AI, and as much as we talk about technology, and all of those firms are moving here, this economy is not based on that. This economy is based on people who need to get on a bus to go to work. People who clean bedrooms on Miami Beach but live in Hialeah Gardens. People who work in factories in Doral but live in Liberty City. That's this economy. if we don't allow for housing for those people, you can't talk to me about billionaires. It's not about billionaires. It's about each and every one of us. And we can do that, but we have to commit ourselves. 30 for 30 makes us start talking about it. So does the ballot initiative. Simple question I put on the ballot. Should Miami-Dade County expand rapid mass transit? Simple question. They asked me why I was putting on the ballot because I want us to start talking about it. I want us to start talking about it because we all say that we want to do it. People tell me all the time, we're going to do it. The promise of the North Corridor is 30 years old. They tell me that we want to do it, but everyone says they want to do it, but no one actually does it. There's this idea that there's going to be a time for it to be easy. This idea that at some point it's going to get free. This idea at some point it's going to be simple. Nothing big is easy. Nothing big is cheap. It's not going to get cheaper. If we decide that we want to do it, doing it now just makes the most sense. The ballot initiative is meant to start the conversation with the community, but specifically, and I know they understand this, I'm talking to my colleagues, because governing is about assessing resources based on your values. Do we value the affordability, not just affordable housing, but the affordability of housing? Do we value rapid mass transit? And I'll explain the difference between affordability of housing and affordable housing. I know you all know, but some people who are watching this, maybe on social media, might not. Affordable housing, as defined, we can work on that through government. Our problem in Miami-Dade County is no longer affordable housing. Our problem in Miami-Dade County is the affordability of housing. Beyond government programs and intervention, we failed the very first day of supply and demand. Economics. We just don't have enough units. We don't have enough units, and we should have started building more decades ago. But starting now solves a problem for our kids or our younger brothers and sisters, depending on how young you are. But we have to actually do that. We can't pretend. And that means that to my friends and colleagues and to everyone here, the idea that you're not going to do something in your backyard because you want to live in the Miami that you grew up in, I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to challenge that because we can maintain the character of your community and still build units that allow for people to have access to housing. They're not mutually exclusive. I've been here my entire life. I'm 51 years old. I'm not living in the Miami Gardens that I grew up in, but it still feels like my home. Your kids, this will feel like their home, but they're not going to live in the same place where there are 4 houses on a block. And we singularly build single-family homes because that's the American dream. We are the American dream. We're the people. We get to decide. And it's time we actually decide. I get the question a lot, how much will rapid mass transit cost? Well, I got a good friend, Eileen Bouclé from the TPO here. She used to be my boss when I was the chair of the TPO. You all will get that. I was the chair, but she was my boss. Maybe $5 billion, our share, maybe less. But I don't talk to them about how much it'll cost. I'll tell them how much it would have cost if we had done it when we were supposed to do it. If we had done it 30 years ago, it was a lot cheaper. If we do it 30 years from now, it will be a lot more expensive. I also talk to people about how much it's costing right now. On average, every driver, $1,800. You're still paying. That's your congestion cost. In time and gas, that's your congestion cost. $8 billion for the urbanized area annually. Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County, $8 billion annually. We're paying now. We're paying right now. We paid when we came here this morning. You paid because you were coming to Coral Gables and you lived on the beach and you know you had to leave 30 or 45 minutes early. You're paying because instead of growing your business, you're sitting in traffic. You're paying because we can't necessarily control the price of gas, but it seems to keep going up. You're paying right now. We are paying right now, but we become desensitized to the pain. I'll tell you a quick story. My aunt, she's my favorite aunt. She was my favorite aunt. She's passed away. So as you can probably guess, I was a little mischievous of a kid. I didn't really do a lot of bad things, but I had a mouth on me. I would say something, you know. So when I say something, she pinched me. And anybody have a grandma or an aunt that pinches? And so maybe it's just a Caribbean thing. But she pinched me. Now, the pinch for the first, and she'd hold the pinch, seemed like forever. And that was probably only 20 seconds. But 20 seconds is a long time when you're being pinched. So she pinched, and she just a little turn thing right here. And it's so interesting because for the first 5 seconds of that pinch, it really hurt. I mean, it was like an end of days type pain, right? Like I was, oh Lord, just take me home. It was bad. But you know, after the 5 seconds, the pain normalized. I didn't feel it as much. After 5 more seconds, I completely desensitized to it. That's what has happened with congestion. That's what's happened with housing costs. We've just accepted it, as though we're spectators to our own existence, as though we can do nothing, say nothing. We have no collective will to make anything. We've just accepted it. We've capitulated to the idea that we're going to sit in traffic. We're going to pay more for housing because that's just the way it has to be. It isn't the way it has to be. It's the way we've made it. It's the way we've allowed it to evolve. We must become curators of the things that we want. We must become architects of our future. We must become the constructors of the Miami-Dade County that will exist for our children. It is within our capacity to do it. But we must decide. The next question that Lauren, my assistant, she wrote down 4 questions for me to answer. She said, you just answered these questions and your keynote's done. The next question was, how does transit and housing connect? Well, listen, people keep moving here. Apparently we're a nice and a cool place to live. But the thing is, we can't afford to add cars to the road, and we add people to our community. It is not sustainable. It's not sustainable from a resilience perspective. It's not sustainable from a traffic perspective, because the rest of the Florida may have places where they can build roads. We can't do that without crushing communities here in South Florida. We're done with the building major roads to solve our congestion problem. That's not how this is going to work for us. We have to invest in rapid mass transit. We have to do it, or it has an extraordinarily detrimental effect. The housing, it has to be close. It has to be close to that transit, because I don't need to exacerbate our first and last mile problem right now, because we're not a particularly well-planned community. We can't afford to exacerbate that problem. We have to actually put housing along corridors. That's why we sponsored and created the Rapid Transit Zone Ordinance, saying that along our rapid mass transit corridors, we needed to have high FAR, high density. We needed to do those things, because I need you to build a big apartment with a lot of units next to some place where someone can get on a BRT or a train. It's easy. It's not complicated. We've asked our cities to partner with us. It is my hope that they will. But if they do not, it is our job as a community, it is my responsibility as a county commissioner to push the issue. Not because I want to change your home, but I can't afford to look at singularly what I need in Miami Gardens and Opelika. I have to look at what we need as a community, what we need as a county, to grow, to be successful, to have businesses, for you all to spend less than 60% of your combined income on housing and transit. I got to look at those things. That's my job. It's not my job to say something that you like. It's my job to tell you the truth, to give you the facts, the information, and to help lead. There's been, and I'll go off on a bit of tangent because I've been watching the national news lately, and somebody, it wasn't one of the reporters, somebody's talking, they said, well, the people are saying they want this, and this is what they want, because this is democracy. And I thought to myself, this is a representative republic. And there's a bit of a difference. I appreciate being an elected official. My job isn't to do exactly what you say. My job is to use my best judgment to do what's right for the community and explain my choice to you. If you don't want to elect me, then don't do it. Don't re-elect me. My job isn't to tell you that you're right. My job is to do what's right. Those things will not be the same often because no one wants to do something big. Look, I'm a taxpayer in Miami-Dade County too. I'm a homeowner in Miami-Dade County also. I don't enjoy paying taxes or fees. I don't enjoy that. I make a very little bit of money. And I'm not like the attorney from Bills in there. Anthony, you got on that old nice jacket? No, I'm not even like my legislative aide. She makes more money than me too. It's hard, but the purpose of government is to do things collectively that we can't do individually. We can do that with rapid mass transit. We can do that with housing. We can do that with setting the standard that allows for private actors to help. Not just building affordable units, but building more units so all units become more affordable. It's not complicated, supply and demand. If you have higher demand, then you have supply. It's expensive. If you level them out, prices stabilize. If you build extra supply, prices go down. It's just economics, literally the first day of economics. As a community, we're failing the first day of economics. The next question she has down here is, why now? Is now the right time? No, now isn't the right time. Yeah, yesterday was the right time. Now is not the right time. Now is not the right time. 30 years ago was the right time. 30 years ago when it was a lot cheaper, but 30 years ago they said it was too expensive. And now it's a lot more expensive. No, now isn't the right time. I promise you the cost of concrete and steel and asphalt, it's not gonna go down. That's not the nature of what's happening. The nature of what's happening is if we don't do it now, it just becomes more expensive to do later. Now isn't the right time. The next question was, why us? Why not us? 50% of the people in this community born someplace else, they came here to Miami-Dade County, to America, with an idea that we would make manifest the American dream here in this community. That we would build something for our children, that we would be transformative. That's the example that we're setting. We own that idea. We own that dream. Why not us? Why not us? Why not be unapologetic about the community that we want to create? Why not stand fearless in front of the idea that this unacceptable reality should not be accepted? We don't have to accept it. And if we're not going to do it, what we're saying to our children is that we will fail them. I'm not prepared to say that I'm a failure in anything. I'm fond of saying I've never failed in anything in my life. I don't have plans to, because if I haven't won, we aren't finished. We're going to work. We're going to work. We're going to get it done. The last thing I would note is, Kathy said something. She said, we have to have hope. She was talking to Annie, I think, at the table. You know, sitting at the speaker's table before you're about to speak. I'm never doing that again, by the way. But just never doing it again. They look at your nose. It's the noise pollution. You have all of these smart people talking, and they're just talking, and you're getting all of this in your head. And she said, Annie, as long as you have hope, I have hope. And I wrote down, I don't have hope, I have us. I have us. I have the people at that table, people at that table. I have the knowledge that throughout history, for big things and small groups of determined, committed people have changed the world. A small group of people created Christianity. A small group of people created this country. It was their belief, it was their faith, it was their fervent actions That's what small groups of committed people can do. The real question is not our size, it's our commitment. I assure you, as your chairman and your neighbor, I'm committed. Thank you all very much.